Welcome to the NBA Triple Double Show, powered by SportsMemo. I'm your host, Ronald Cabang from Wager Talk, and at UCapper Sports on Twitter. I'll be joined by Moneyline Matt today to talk about the two NBA playoff games we have today. But before we get into those games, I do want to talk about what we got going on over at SportsMemo and WagerTalk.com. It is Monday, so as always, $9 Mondays. All picks and packages on the site are just $9. Make sure you head over to either one of those sites, SportsMemo or WagerTalk. Both sites have the free live odds pages, the deals pages. Cappers provide free picks and analysis on a daily basis as well. Also, before you head over to those sites, please make sure to hit the like and subscribe button here on YouTube before you go. With that said, let's get Matt up here with me. What is up, Matt? I mean, we always say, we always try to start the show transparent. This weekend was profitable for me. Yesterday took a sort of like a hit, gave some units back. But overall, still a profitable weekend. How was your weekend over at sportsmemo.com?
I had a really good weekend. We talked. I remember last Monday, and I went 2-5. It was a bloody weekend, and this week was very good. I went 11-3, 7-2 on the weekend, so bounced back very well. We had the 76ers money line yesterday. We had Marcus Smart points plus assists, and then we had the Nuggets at night, and that just didn't go exactly how I thought. After watching the Suns in Game 3. I felt like that team was really teetering on the edge of disaster, with so much coming from Devin Booker and Kevin Durant. And then we saw Landry Shamet just have an absolute legacy game and help to bring the Suns over the top. It was really good to see. But, great weekend, great week, ready to keep it going right now.
Yeah, with that said, let's go into the games today. We had the first one up. We got the Knicks and the Heat here. Heat are up 2-1 in the series. Heat took game three and easy 19-point win there. The Knicks struggled to score from the beginning. They shot 34% from the field. Both teams actually shot poorly. Even the Heat shot 39% in that game there. But they got to the free throw line a ton, made 28 out of 31 free throws. The Heat have covered every single game so far in the series too, Matt. And they've gone under in 2 of the 3 games so far. What are your thoughts on this one here today?
For me in this spot, I'm actually looking at the Knicks. To your point, in their last game, the Knicks really didn't come to play, and in my eyes, with guys like Jalen Brunson and Julius Randle, at some point, personally, I think these guys are going to step up. And more than anyone, I'm looking at Julius Randle a lot. He is someone who has had good games in the regular season against the Miami Heat, and maybe this has to do with his injury and stuff like that. But this will be the third game back since he was injured. And, typically, we've talked about this on the show. When someone comes back from injury, it's not the first game. It's not the second game. It's generally the third or fourth game that I like to take these guys because their minutes are ramping up. They're getting comfortable once again. And I think this is that spot where this Knicks team is going to come to play. In reality, you do have to really target Jimmy Butler. Jimmy Butler has just been playing unbelievable basketball. Him and Devin Booker playing probably the best in the playoffs at this point in time. But for me, this is still a Miami Heat team that is very beatable. They are 27-14 at home, so a very solid home record. But this Knicks squad is one of the few teams that actually played better on the road throughout the season with a 24-17 road record. So for me, we talked about this, before we came into this series, and this Miami Heat team definitely proved me wrong once again. It seems like they always have someone step up, whether it's Gabe Vincent, whether it's Max Strus, whether it's Kevin Love. These guys are really stepping up, or free agents, undrafted guys, which just shows what the Heat do as an organization, Eric Spoelstra as a coach. But for me, once again, it's just the consistency that I'm having trouble with. And I personally believe that this is one of those spots where Jalen Brunson is going to step up. I think Julius Randle finally gets back to being his old self. And if Julius Randle can get back to being his old self, he has mismatches against this Miami Heat team. This Heat team doesn't have a true power forward. Kevin Love, yes, he can come back in that lineup, but he also comes off the bench and he doesn't get 30 minutes. So for me, The mismatch is Julius Randle. He needs to go out and he needs to make plays. He needs to take advantage of this spot. And I'm not comfortable enough to take the Knicks money line, but I do think there's an outside chance I might take this Knicks spread here. So for me, I would be looking at the New York Knicks. I think this Miami Heat team still has some inconsistencies, and this is a Knicks team that likes to go out and play on the road. So I think this is a spot where they're actually going to step up, come to play here, and I think they do cover this spread.
Yeah, this one is tough for me, Matt. Maybe we'll talk about this a little bit, but here. But as far as the pace goes in this series, they've been just as slow as that Celtics Sixers series. But you see the difference between this series and that series is both the Knicks and Heat have been really inconsistent, especially on the offensive side of the ball. I mean, you just saw how terrible the Knicks shot there in game three. The Knicks actually have the worst offensive rating out of all teams remaining left in that second round here. You could have, obviously you could attribute it to the defense of Miami, but also the Knicks are just really shooting poorly. They're even from the free throw line all season long. You've seen it. They struggled from the free throw line as well. I think they're shooting like 70% from the free throw line, and so even if they get there, they're still not converting at a high rate, which is really kind of helping these unders get below the low total already. Going through the first three games again, I was looking through those games again. I mean, I just don't know what's wrong with the Knicks as far as the efficiency from from the 3 point line and all that stuff. The guys that have been hitting consistently throughout the season, they're just really struggling here in the postseason. And I mean, part of me says it's the role players stepping up for Miami. I think we talked about this before the series started. Like New York had a lot of momentum going into it, right? They were peaking at the right time, and Miami really just relying on Jimmy Butler. But you could see even the games where Jimmy Butler didn't play versus when he did play. Game two where he didn't play, there's such a big discrepancy in their defensive efficiency when with Jimmy in and out. And so for me, it's like as long as Jimmy Butler is in, I just feel like the Knicks, there's a chance the Knicks continue to struggle. But if the Knicks can do their part and obviously limit the Heat as well, maybe they do cover. But for me, it almost seems like the under is still in play here. Like I said earlier, 2 of the 3 games have gone under the low total here. Pace wise, just poor efficiency on the offensive side. Do you think the under is still a good look here, even at a low total?
Yeah, personally, and I'm with you. This is not a series that I've really looked to attack very much throughout the playoffs, just because, again, we've talked about the inconsistencies. Something is going on with the New York Knicks. I think a lot of it actually has to do with Emmanuel Quickley, too. Emmanuel Quickley has not played very good throughout the playoffs, and he was a very consistent, a dependable guy coming off the bench as six man of the year runner up. And when it comes to him and Malcolm Brogdon, they've been playing incredibly different over the course of the playoffs. Brogdon is playing like the sixth man of the year, and Emmanuel Quickley is just playing like some guy off the bench. And he is doubtful coming into this spot. So I think something interesting that you can take a look at, and not for a prop perspective or anything like that, but just how the game plays out. It's Miles McBride, and that's that point guard coming off the bench for the New York Knicks. McBride is a very, very good defender. So I'm wondering if he can come in and potentially give the Knicks a little bit of energy. He's knocked down some shots from the outside. The Knicks have said how much they like him. This is a guy playing instead of veterans like Derrick Rose and stuff like that. Not like Derrick Rose has been playing all that good. But I think it's going to be interesting because I think he actually could come in and give them a little bit of a boost. He is a very, very good defender. He'll be going up against Gabe Vincent and Max Strus, guys that aren't all that good off the dribble. They like to get to their spot. They like to pull up. But yeah, to your point, again, if Emmanuel Quickley is out here as well, that's another guy who potentially comes in off the bench, scores, maybe gets you 10 points. Hasn't lately, but because of that, that under does look really good. It's going to be Brunson, it's going to be Barrett, and it's going to be Randall. And it seems like every single game, one of those guys has struggled. And other than the Miami Heat, Jimmy Butler's going to go out and get it. But who's the other guy? Is Bam Adebayo going to have a good game or a bad game? He's just like Anthony Davis with that hot cold. You can't have 2 good games in a row generally. So I would be with you. Both of these teams are, in my eyes, still very inconsistent. They don't have a ton of guys that I can depend on night in, night out, other than Jimmy Butler. And Jalen Brunson is typically one of those guys as well, but even he's been a little inconsistent throughout this series. Even his back down game, his fadeaways, they've been a little off, and he's usually cush with those. So for me, I'd be with you. I'd still be with the under here. Two inconsistent teams. Not a game I'm exactly looking to. I'm definitely going to be looking more towards the night game in this spot.
Gotcha. Well, with that said, let's move on to that game there. The Warriors and the Lakers here. Lakers lead the series 2-1. Lakers straight up dominated game three there, winning that one by 30 points. The Warriors continue to live and die by the three ball. They only shot 29% on 44 three-pointers attempted. Lakers shot efficiently 52% from the field, including 15 out of 31 from three for them. That is something that we don't usually see from their side of the ball. Warriors also had 19 turnovers in game three. The Lakers went to the free throw line 37 times compared to just 17 for the Warriors. And it could possibly be that this is a situation where we see a true zigzag, right, in this series. I'm just not super confident in this one, but a lot of the trends and stats are really pointing. I guess you can say you can get counter narratives on both sides here, but there's some things that are actually pointing me towards the Warriors here. I dropped some stats, like some ref stats on Twitter earlier, that says Scott Foster might, in this situation could possibly be backing the Lakers here. I mean, some of the things, the way that he refs in these games backs the way the Lakers play the games. And it could be a situation where they get a lot of foul calls and get to the free throw line consistently again. But historically, with this this core group for the Warriors, they've always bounced back off of these big losses. Also, off of these games where they struggled offensively, they typically bounce back on the offensive side of the ball. But just from this season, how they've done on the road, and the Lakers changes after the All-Star break as well, and how they play, it's a lot different, right? You can always look at like historic stats and trends, but you also have to look at the current season, the current team, the makeup and the roster, and sometimes you just got to balance all that stuff out. But I'll talk about this. This is going to be one of the games that I talk about for my best bet. But Matt, what do you see from a betting perspective in this game? Are you looking towards a prop, or do you see anything on the side or total?
I'm 100% with you here. I think the zigzag theory definitely comes into play here. If there's a team that I'm going to be backing, it is going to be the Golden State Warriors. And I think there's definitely a couple ways that you can do it. Personally, I do think the Warriors win this game, but I might be more comfortable taking that +3. If it's still at 3.5, I've seen some 2.5s out there. Definitely shop around, try and get that best spread that you can. But yeah, I'd be with you. Last game, a lot of it came down to those free throws. To end that half, the Golden State Warriors went on a nice run. They got it close again, and then it was just free throws, free throws, free throws. And when you have a discrepancy of whatever it was, 37 free throws for the Lakers, 10 or so for the Warriors, whatever that may be, it's going to be tough to overcome that, no matter what it was. And, I personally do believe in some of the outside stuff where LeBron James and Steph Curry in a series together. I think this league wants it to go 7 games. And, whether that might help the Warriors here, or maybe, with the spread and they go out and get game 5, something like that. I definitely believe in this zigzag theory. And this is a championship caliber team. They've been here before. They've faced these situations. Steph Curry, the best shooter in the world. You got Klay Thompson on the other side. And I think a lot of these guys are going to step up. And we haven't exactly, Andrew Wiggins has played great throughout the playoffs thus far. He's scoring, he's getting rebounds, he's a solid defender on top of that. But we really haven't seen him go get that 20-point game, that 25-point game, and he's very capable of doing it. So this is something I'm kind of looking to Andrew Wiggins here. I think he might have a solid game. And then another person, it's just Steve Kerr. Steve Kerr makes adjustments game in, game out. We saw him make that adjustment in game 2 with the lineup change. I would not be surprised at all if they have another lineup change in this spot. They put JaMychal Green in that lineup, a guy who really hasn't started with the Warriors all that much. Wouldn't be surprised if they switched it up and tried a different look to catch the Lakers off guard. I don't think it's going to be Jordan Poole joining that starting lineup, but I do think Steve Kerr can switch it up. He's one of the best coaches throughout the NBA, and again, for this Lakers team, they've been playing great basketball, but LeBron James hasn't had that 30-point game or anything like that either. I'm curious to see what would occur if, say, D'Angelo Russell has an off game and, say, Austin Reeves has an off game. Can LeBron still be that guy to go out and score consistently to help put that team over the edge? Because I'm unsure, because we've gone out and we've seen Steph Curry do it. We've seen Steph Curry carry the load for this Warriors team. And, we also know Anthony Davis. He's very capable of winning a game on his own, but he's also a guy who it's just like a roller coaster with him. So if he's off, Can LeBron still do that? And I would guess yes, but we just haven't seen it yet. So for me, again, I think I would be with the Golden State Warriors here. I think some total looks are very much in play as well. I think there's a lot of ways that you can look at the Golden State Warriors tonight because, again, a championship team backs against the wall. You don't want to go down 3-1. They know the percentages if you go down 3-1. So they want to go out. They want to get this game in LA. Tough place to play, but we saw him do it in Sacramento. So again, championship caliber team back somewhat against the wall. I expect them to respond. And if they don't win the game, I know 3 is not the biggest spread in the world, but I think it could be that close here. So I would go Golden State.
Yeah, I mean, to me that makes a lot of sense, Matt. The things that you pointed out there. I think a lot of people are going to look at this season specifically, right? And how the Lakers have done. Lakers 10, they've won 10 out of 11 games at home. 10 out of their last 11 games at home. That includes covering all 4 of the home playoff games that they've had so far this season. And a lot of people are going to talk about the Warriors who've been terrible pretty much all season long on the road. But like you said, this is a professional team. Kerr makes a lot of the proper adjustments, and I think this might be one of those true zigzag series. And I think I would expect the Warriors to bounce back, especially on the offensive side of the ball, especially after that performance in Game 3 where they failed to score 100 points. I mean, if you look at this core group with the Warriors here, it's been extremely profitable to back the Warriors on the spread and to take the under actually following a playoff loss, and even more so in recent years. If we go back since the 2018 playoffs, the Warriors following a loss in the playoffs, 15-4 straight up, 13-6 against the spread, also 12-5-2 to the under. And also on that note too, looking at how the Warriors do in the playoffs, specifically after scoring less than 100 points. And this goes back all the way to 2017. 7-1 straight up, 6-2 against the spread, 8-0 to the under, limiting their opponent under their team total in all 8 games. There's a lot of ways, like you said, we can probably attack this game here, but this kind of leads me to my best bet. So we'll just get straight into it. The Warriors this season specifically, right? They've scored under 100 4 times this season. The 3-1 against the spread the following game, also 3-1 to over their team total. The one that stayed under was by a point and a half, where the game was like out of hand. They didn't really need to score much more. They still scored 120 points that game, so that it was like just a high total. They averaged 119.2 in those 4 games this season, where they following the games where they didn't score 100. They also scored at least 113 in all 4 of those games as well. Their team total today, 112.5. That is my best bet today. It's a team total on the Warriors side, 112.5 to the over. I know there's a lot of different situations we could see, the Lakers, maybe this goes over, maybe this goes under, but I think I want to just focus primarily on what I think the Warriors can do themselves. So even whether or not they win or cover or whatever, I just think that they're going to be in a situation where they bounce back offensively, especially after that type of performance. Over 112.5 is my best bet. Over on wagertalk.com, I do have a triple play package, 3 MLB plays. This game here might be one of the premium plays in the NBA. I haven't posted an NBA play yet, but this might end up being one of them. I'm keying in on a couple plays here for the 2-game slate, but haven't posted them yet. They should be up by noontime today. So you can head over to wagertalk.com after the show here, and we'll have that set up there. But Matt, what is your best bet for today's show? Also, what do you got going on over at SportsMemo?
Yeah, over at SportsMemo right now, I have 1 play loaded. I will definitely have some more with the Warriors and Lakers game. Like I said, I think there's a lot of ways that you can go with that game, just trying to figure out exactly what spot I want. Been running really hot right now. I'm second in 3 days, 7 days, 30 days, and third in overall playoff profits. So really running good right now, seeing some things and just looking to keep it going throughout this playoffs. And today we are actually going to be going with Julius Randle over 32.5 points plus rebounds. All right. And like I said before, this is a guy, Julius Randle. He was injured for an extended period of time throughout the playoffs, came back, and hasn't exactly looked like himself. He had one game where he played very well, went over this total, but is actually 1 for his last 6 going over this total. And the reason that I'm looking at Randall is because this is a spot where their backs are against the wall, and this team needs him. He's going to be manned up with Kevin Love in this spot. Not the best defender in the world. Kevin Love's getting a little bit older. I think you can draw some fouls with him. Julius Randle just needs to be confident and be aggressive in this spot. This is a player who averaged 25 points, 10 rebounds in the regular season, and a 35 points plus rebound total. And this is a total at 32.5. And this is a New York Knicks team that, again, is going to be without Emmanuel Quickly. Not like that takes away a ton of shots, but again, those shots need to go somewhere. And I highly doubt they're going to go to Miles McBride or anyone like that. Those shots are going to go to Jalen Brunson. They're going to go to Julius Randle, and they're going to go to RJ Barrett. And it just comes down to, can you take advantage of those shots? So now another thing too is Julius Randle has been rebounding the basketball very well. These star players, if they're not shooting very well, they get aggressive on the boards, they get aggressive on defense, things like that. And Julius Randle does have the second most rebound opportunities on the New York Knicks, just behind Mitchell Robinson. So again, I think this is a great spot, and I think this is a spot where Julius Randle is actually going to lead this Knicks team in scoring. I think he goes out there. I think he's going to be very aggressive. I think he's going to get through the free throw line as well, and that's very key because once again, this is a Miami Heat team where if you get Kevin Love to the free throw line, there's no one else. Then you're putting Caleb Martin in at the 4, and Julius Randle should absolutely eat. You're going to force that Miami Heat team to maybe turn into a zone or a box and one, something along those lines. So for me, again, I just think this is a mismatch, and Julius Randle needs to take advantage of it. His first game against the Miami Heat, I believe he had 25 points, 25 points, 12 rebounds. That's kind of what I expect from him in this spot. Again, it's a great mismatch. I expect him to be aggressive here. And one of Julius Randle's best games of the season, if you can recall, was against this Miami Heat team. He had 43 points. He hit a buzzer beater. And one of the reasons I know that is because one of my 4% best bets are 15-4 in 2023. 3 of them have been buzzer beaters, the losses, and one of those was Julius Randle. So I remember it very well. I know what he can do. We all know what he can do if he gets hot. I think this is one of those games. I'm backing Julius Randle over 32.5 points plus rebounds tonight.
Yeah, I think out of all the guys there on the Knicks squad, if the Knicks have a chance to win, he's going to be that guy that has to be the person, to take over this game here. I like that best bet. I do. I like how do you know his 3-point prop by chance? I feel like he's gonna have to. I think he's gonna have to be the guy that extends the court there a little bit. I mean,
Yeah,
I know it's a little bit different look of what we've been seeing, but if he gets over, I think he's gonna be from the 3-point line. To be honest, I think that's just a way that they have to shift their game.
No, for sure. And it's kind of interesting. I want to say 1.5, but I'm unsure because it's so inconsistent. It's 0
Yeah.
for 5, 3 for 9, 0 for 3, 0 for 4, 2 for 10, 3 for 7, 3 for 10 in the playoffs.
So
So it's like,
he's getting the opportunity. He's just not making
yeah,
them, right? I mean, we've
he
seen in
is.
the regular season where there was days where he just got hot, like just from the 3-point line, and he would
It's
check him up, like he check every single time.
100%. And if you're getting 10 shots, like it's all about the volume. You know what I mean? Like even the other
Two
two
and a
and a
half
half
juice
juice
to
to
the
the
over, says Eric for our producer there. I
okay.
To be honest, dude, I mean, I would think if he goes over that 32 and a half, I think it's primarily going to be from the 3-point line because I mean they've kind of been limiting him in the paint a little bit, and they don't really make their free throws either. So I would think the 3-point prop might be a good way to go too.
I definitely like that, and I like hearing that it's juiced to the over too, because sometimes, guys, if you're checking out a point prop or something like that, and say a player's been running hot, and you see that prop line come down, sometimes it's like the books might, be onto something a little bit, and the fact that they have Julius Randle juiced to the over, and he's been playing not very good, they might think that he's going to go out and do something tonight as
Hmm.
well. So I definitely like the look of that. And again, it's all about the volume. A lot of times you can ask for those shots. You just have to make them. And it was the same thing with KD on Friday. I think he shot like 12 for 33 or something like that, and he still hit his over because the volume was so high,
Yeah.
and he still got to that free throw line. So again, guys, that's what you're looking for with that consistency with player props is that volume. They go out and shoot 30 times. that's great. I would take that bet every single time. Yes, they have to hit the shots, but you're just playing the percentages at that point. So again, it's all about that volume.
Yeah, you would think in a sort of you would say this is a must-win situation, right? You would
Yeah.
probably get heavy minutes from all your key players, so that volume is definitely going to be there. So that's a good look there. All right, well, with that said, guys, that is the end of the show. Only two NBA games today. Obviously, the playoffs. So we're going to be, less games on the board, for the rest of the playoffs here. But our next show will be on Wednesday. I think it's going to be myself, Matt, and I think Jeff Michaels will be here on Wednesday. We'll see what games what game is going to be there on Wednesday for us to talk about. But until then, good luck with all your action. Uh, Peace.
Peace.